The night sky over Theros 9 was thick with green clouds and glowing storms. The colony lights flickered across the rough metal walls, and the air smelled of rain and iron. Deep below the main outpost, behind layers of steel bars, something moved, something alive. They called it the Beast of Theros. The locals whispered stories that it had destroyed whole villages before the humans arrived. Its body was covered in thick black fur with glowing streaks of blue that pulsed like veins of light. Its claws could cut through metal, and its voice, a low growl that shook the ground, was said to drive smaller creatures mad with fear. The colony guards never looked into its eyes. They said those eyes showed you your death before it came. Eli Ward, a human engineer sent from Earth to repair the damaged colony defenses, didn't believe in stories. He believed in machines, logic, and things that made sense. But that first night, when he heard the beast voice echo through the walls, something inside him paused. He followed the sound, walking through the maintenance tunnels where lights flickered weakly. The air grew colder with each step. Finally, he reached the lowest chamber, a huge metal cage glowing faintly under the security lights. The beast was there, chained and silent. Its breathing was deep, slow, almost human. Eli stopped at the edge of the cage, gripping the railing. He expected to feel fear. Instead, he felt something else, sadness. The creature wasn't wild. It looked tired. A voice behind him spoke sharply. "Step away, human." Eli turned to see Commander Joris, one of the alien officers of the colony. Joris's blue-gray skin shimmered under the light, his four eyes narrowing. "You have no reason to be here," Joris said. "That thing is cursed. We sacrifice it tomorrow night. It brings storms, sickness, and death," Eli frowned. "You sacrifice it because of old stories?" "Because it's dangerous," Joris said coldly. "You don't know what it did before your kind arrived." Eli didn't answer. He looked again at the creature, its massive chest rising and falling slowly. Its golden eyes opened for a second, catching the light, and for that moment, Eli swore he saw fear in them, not rage. That night, rain hammered against the metal roofs. Thunder rolled across the valley. Eli couldn't sleep. The image of the beast's eyes stayed in his mind. He thought about the sacrifice, about how they said the creature must die so the colony could live. But what if everyone was wrong? What if the creature was not a monster but something misunderstood? Like a wolf caught in a trap. He waited until midnight. The guards at the lower level were half asleep. Taking a small lantern and a pack of dried meat from the kitchen, he slipped down the stairways quietly. The corridor smelled of damp steel. The sound of thunder above mixed with the faint hum of power lines. When he reached the cage, the beast was awake. Its glowing eyes followed him. Eli stopped a few steps away. His hands shook. "I don't mean harm," he whispered. "I just want to look." The creature didn't move. He took a small piece of food and tossed it toward the bars. It landed near the beast's claws. For a moment, nothing happened, then the claws twitched. The creature sniffed the air, slowly extended one paw and pulled the food inside. It didn't growl. It didn't attack. It simply ate. Quietly, carefully, like it had been starving for days. Eli smiled nervously. "You're hungry, huh?" The beast looked up again. The golden eyes met his, glowing faintly. Eli felt his chest tighten. That look wasn't empty or savage. It was aware. For the next few minutes, he sat there on the cold floor, speaking softly. "They think you're a monster, but I don't think you are. You're just scared, just like any of us." The creature tilted its head slightly. Then it made a sound, low, deep, but not angry. It sounded like a hum, almost like a word too soft to understand. Eli froze. Did you just try to speak?" The beast blinked and lowered its head again. He couldn't believe it. He'd worked with hundreds of alien systems, but never seen something like this. Maybe this beast was intelligent. Maybe it wasn't a beast at all. Suddenly, a loud metal clang echoed behind him. Eli turned quickly. A guard patrol was walking through the tunnel. Their lights flashed closer. He panicked. He covered the lantern, crouching behind a crate. The guards passed slowly, talking to each other. "Tomorrow the priest arrives," one said. "Finally, this cursed thing will be gone. My brother still has nightmares about its roar." "Good riddance," the other replied. "Even looking at it gives me chills." Their voices faded as they left. Eli let out a slow breath. He turned back toward the cage and froze again. The creature had moved closer, right up to the bars. It was huge, taller than any human, but now it crouched low, its golden eyes staring at him. Slowly it lifted one massive claw and placed it gently against the bars, like a gesture of trust. Eli swallowed hard and raised his hand. For a second he hesitated, then he placed his hand on the metal near the claw. The surface was warm, humming faintly with energy. Neither of them moved. The rain above kept falling. In that quiet, something changed. A strange understanding. A bridge between fear and kindness, Eli whispered. I won't let them hurt you. The beast made a deep sound again, softer this time, like agreement. He looked at the creature's body. There were old scars across its chest, burns on its neck, and pieces of metal embedded in its skin. Someone had tortured it, experimented on it. That was why it hated light, why it stayed silent. This wasn't a wild beast. It was a victim. He stayed there for hours, talking in low voice, feeding small pieces of meat through the bars. The creature responded with soft rumbles each time, its breathing slower, calmer. By the time dawn light began to glow through the upper vents, Eli realized he had crossed a line, not just with the colony's rules, but within himself. He could no longer watch them kill something that had looked at him not with rage, but with hope. He left the cage quietly and walked back through the tunnels. Outside, the rain had stopped. The sky over Theros 9 was pale green, and the first sunlight fell across the hills. Behind him, from deep underground, came a faint sound, a soft, low hum that almost sounded like his name. Morning light spread through the colony of Theros 9, turning the metal walls silver. The storm had passed, but whispers filled every corridor. Someone had seen Eli Ward near the beast's cage. No one said his name out loud, but everyone knew. Guards looked at him longer than usual. Engineers stopped talking when he entered the room. Even his alien coworker Terrell refused to share the work table that morning. The council will notice, Terrell said quietly, keeping his 4 eyes fixed on the console. You were seen walking toward the lower cells at midnight. You don't know what you're doing, human. Eli didn't answer. He kept working on the defense panel, but his thoughts were elsewhere. Deep underground, with the creature that had looked at him not with hate, but with something like understanding. When night came again, the rain had stopped. The colony lights glowed faintly under the cloudy sky. Eli waited until the guard patrols changed shifts. He took a small container of fresh meat and bread, wrapped in cloth, and slipped into the tunnels once more. Every step felt heavier than before. He knew the risk. If anyone caught him again, he'd be arrested, maybe even executed for interfering with the sacred sacrifice. But his heart refused to let the creature die. Down in the dark chamber, the air was thick and still. The beast was lying near the back of its cage, eyes half closed as if weak. Eli whispered softly, "Hey, I brought you food." The creature's eyes opened slowly, glowing gold in the dark. It rose a little and watched him. He slid the food near the bars. "You must be hungry." The creature reached forward carefully, eating the food in silence. Eli noticed something new. Its claws didn't touch the ground harshly anymore. Its movements were slower, almost gentle. He smiled. "You're not what they say, are you?" The beast looked at him for a long moment, then made a soft, low sound, a hum that rose and fell like a strange melody. Eli froze. "You understand me?" The creature blinked once, then repeated the hum, this time with more rhythm. Eli's heart pounded. He took out his small voice recorder from his belt. "Say that again," he whispered, pressing record. The sound came again, longer, deeper. It wasn't random. It had a pattern, a language. Eli leaned closer, whispering, "Who are you?" The creature's head tilted slightly. Then, in a rough voice, broken but clear, it tried to form a word. "Alone," Eli's breath caught. "You can talk." The creature looked down and said again, "Alone." He stepped closer to the bars, stunned. "How long have you been here?" "Long before you." The voice was heavy like thunder. Each word sounded painful, as if unused for centuries. Eli felt a chill. He spoke softly. "They think you bring death, that you killed their people." The creature's eyes darkened. "They killed us first." Eli felt the weight of those words. He sat down on the cold floor, recorder still running. The beast continued in broken sentences, fragments of memory, pieces of truth. It told him that it had once protected the valley long ago. Its kind were guardians, not monsters. They stopped storms, controlled the lightning that fed the planet's life. But one day the colonists arrived, afraid, desperate, and armed. They hunted the Guardians, believing their power cursed the land. Eli realized what had really happened, a misunderstanding that became legend, and legend became fear. Suddenly, footsteps echoed in the tunnel. Eli jumped up and hid behind a crate. 2 guards entered, their armor clinking softly. "Commander says the sacrifice is ready for tomorrow," one said. "The human better stay out of this," the other laughed. "If he interferes, maybe we'll sacrifice him too." They laughed again and left. Eli waited until their voices faded. Then he looked back at the cage. The creature was watching him. "Tomorrow?" he said softly. "They're going to kill you tomorrow?" The creature lowered its head. "End of the storm, they say." "No," Eli whispered, shaking his head. "I won't let that happen. I'll find a way." The beast tilted its head again, curious. "Why care?" Eli looked into its eyes, deep gold, full of quiet sadness. "Because you don't deserve to die. You saved no one, but they blame you for everything. That's not fair." For a long time the creature was silent. Then it said softly, "You, different human." Eli smiled weakly. "Maybe, or maybe just stupid." The creature made a low sound, not quite a laugh, but something close. Hours passed as Eli asked more questions, recording everything. The beast's story was fragmented but clear enough. Its name was something like Ronar, though the human tongue struggled to say it. Its kind had vanished when the storms changed. The colonists thought the storms were curses, but they were the planet's defense system, a system Ronar once controlled. Eli realized the truth. Killing it might destroy the balance of Theros 9 forever. He had to show the council his recording before the sacrifice. When dawn broke, he sneaked back through the tunnels, careful not to wake the guards. But as he reached the upper corridor, he froze. Commander Joris stood waiting. "Going somewhere, human?" Eli tried to stay calm, just inspecting the lower energy lines. Joris's eyes narrowed. "At 4 in the morning?" Before Eli could reply, Joris gestured. 2 guards stepped forward and grabbed him. "You've been feeding it," Joris hissed. "I knew it," Eli struggled. "You don't understand." "It can talk. It's not a beast." Joris slapped him across the face hard. "Enough, you insult our ancestors' law. The sacrifice is sacred. You will be silent or you will share its fate." The guards dragged him to a small metal cell. They threw him inside, sealing the door with a loud click. Eli sat on the floor, head spinning. His lip bled from the blow, but his mind was racing. The recorder, where was it? He searched his pockets frantically. It was gone. Joris must have taken it. Despair hit him like a wave. He'd lost his proof. The creature would die and no one would believe him. Hours passed. Outside the cell, he heard thunder building again. The storms of Theros 9 were returning. Then, faintly, from deep underground, he heard it, the creature's roar. But it wasn't a sound of rage. It was a call, low, powerful, echoing through the metal walls. The lights flickered. The floor vibrated. The colony alarm began to scream. Guards ran past his cell, shouting, "It's breaking the cage." Eli's heart pounded. He jumped to his feet and slammed his hands on the cell door. "Don't shoot it. Please." No one listened. The sound of weapons echoed. The alarms grew louder. Then suddenly, silence. A shadow appeared in the hall outside his cell. Heavy footsteps. A low rumbling breath. Eli stepped back as the figure moved into the light. It was huge, covered in dust and burns, its golden eyes bright like fire. The creature, Ronar, stood in front of him, breathing hard. It had broken free. The guards had tried to kill it, but its skin glowed with energy, deflecting the bullets like sparks against stone. Eli whispered, "You came here?" The creature looked at the cell door, then raised one massive hand. It pressed its claw gently against the lock. The metal hissed, melted, and the door swung open. Eli stepped out, shocked. "You saved me." Ronar's deep voice trembled. "You saved me." First? Before Eli could respond, more guards appeared at the end of the corridor. "There." "Kill them both!" Blaster fire lit the tunnel. Ronar growled, shielding Eli with its body. Sparks flew as the beam struck its back, leaving scorch marks but not wounds. With one powerful roar, Ronar unleashed a wave of energy that threw the guards back. Eli stared in awe. The creature was not attacking to kill, only to defend. "Run," Ronar said, pointing toward the exit. "Go. I won't leave you," Eli said firmly. "Go." The ground shook again. Part of the ceiling collapsed behind them. Smoke filled the tunnel. Eli ran beside the creature as alarms blared through the colony. They burst out into the open night, lightning flashing above. In the distance, the colony tower burned. The storm had returned, violent and alive, reacting to the creature's pain. Ronar stood tall, breathing hard. "They'd never listen." Eli looked at him. "Then we'll make them listen." The creature turned its head toward him, and for the first time it smiled. Morning came with the soft hum of machines and the scent of wet metal after the storm. The colony of Theros 9 was awake again, but something had changed. People whispered in corners, voices low and afraid. Someone had seen Eli Ward near the lower cages during the night. They didn't have proof, but rumors spread faster than wind. By breakfast, everyone knew the same story. The human engineer had looked the beast in the eyes. Eli pretended not to hear. He sat in the noisy dining hall, staring at the gray meal on his tray. The others, aliens with scaled skin and long silver arms, gave him wide space. He could feel their stares like heat. Finally, his work partner Terrell sat down across from him. "You were seen in the tunnels," Terrell said quietly. His 4 eyes blinked in a slow pattern of warning. "Don't do it again, Eli. That creature is death." Eli forced a smile. "I just checked power lines." "You lie badly," Terrell said, shaking his head. "The sacrifice happens tomorrow night. If you interfere, they will throw you in the pit with it." Eli didn't reply. He just looked down at his food, untouched, and remembered the creature's eyes from last night. They weren't the eyes of a killer. They were tired, sad, almost human. That evening, the sky turned purple. The twin moons rose together like white fire. The colony lights flickered across the metal towers. Eli waited until the last patrol shift changed. He packed a small metal box filled with scraps of food and some tools just in case. He moved quietly through the tunnels again, heart racing, boots soft against the floor. The lower levels smelled of rust and damp air. Pipes hissed like snakes. At the end of the hall, the massive cage glowed faintly with blue light. Inside the creature, the beast of Theros, sat motionless. "Hey," Eli whispered. "It's me again." The creature's head lifted. Golden eyes caught the light. It didn't growl this time. Instead, it breathed deeply, slow and heavy, like recognizing an old friend. Eli stepped closer and placed the food near the bars. "I brought this for you." For a moment, the creature didn't move. Then, carefully, it reached out one massive claw and pulled the food in. It didn't tear or crush it. It ate slowly, almost politely. Eli couldn't help but smile. "See, you're not dangerous. Just hungry." The creature looked up again. For a moment, it simply stared at him, then made a low humming sound, soft and strange, like a deep wind through stone. Eli blinked. What was that? The sound came again, slightly louder, a rhythm forming. It wasn't random. It had pattern, pitch, and pauses. It sounded like language. He froze, whispering, "You're trying to talk?" The creature tilted its head and let out a short sound. Not growl, not roar, but a word. Rough and heavy, broken by deep breath. "Alone." Eli stepped back, stunned. "You can speak?" The creature's eyes dimmed a little. "Alone?" "Long." Eli's hands shook. He fumbled for his small voice recorder and pressed the button. "Say it again." The beast, or whatever it was, then spoke again, slowly. "Alone, long, they hurt." Eli's voice was soft, trembling. "Who hurt you?" The creature lowered its head. "Them." For the next hour, Eli stayed near the bars, asking questions. The creature answered in broken phrases, mixing sound and light. Sometimes, when it spoke, glowing veins under its skin pulsed with faint blue light as if its words carried energy. He learned its name, or something like it. Ronar. It wasn't a monster. It was a guardian, built long ago to protect Theros 9's surface from violent electric storms. But after the first alien settlers arrived, they misunderstood its power. When Ronar tried to stop a lightning surge that destroyed half the colony, they blamed it for the disaster. They hunted the guardians. Ronar was the last one alive. "Storm, not curse," it said in its broken, deep voice. "Storm, planet's breath." Eli's throat tightened. "They're killing you for saving them." Ronar looked at him. "They fear what they don't see." Eli leaned against the cold bars, whispering, "You're not a beast. You're a miracle." Ronar tilted his head slightly as if trying to understand the word. "Miracle? It means something good," Eli said softly. "Something rare. Something worth saving. For the first time, the creature made a low, soft rumble that almost sounded like a laugh. Eli didn't know how long he stayed there. Time didn't matter. But his moment of peace ended when footsteps echoed through the tunnel. He turned quickly, hiding behind a metal pipe. 2 guards entered, their weapons hanging loosely. The council ordered the sacrifice ready by dawn, one said. Commander Joris wants the human watch too. Why? He's been down here twice. They think he's touched by the beast's curse. Their voices faded as they walked away. Eli's heart pounded. He looked at Ronar, whispering, "They're going to kill you tomorrow. We have to stop them." The creature blinked slowly. "Can't run. Storm walls. Kill me. Then we show them the truth," Eli said firmly. "You can talk. You can think. If they see, they'll have to stop." But even as he said it, he knew they wouldn't listen. He returned to the surface before sunrise, slipping quietly through the corridors. But as soon as he reached the main level, he stopped dead. Commander Joras stood waiting near the doorway, tall and silent, with 2 guards at his side. "Long night, engineer?" Joris asked coldly. Eli forced a smile. "I was checking the backup conduits. There was a power drop last night." Joras's dark eyes narrowed. "You lie. You were near the cage again." Eli said nothing. "Do you know what that thing did before your kind arrived?" Joris hissed. "It burned our fields. It swallowed our soldiers in storms. You think kindness can change that?" Eli clenched his fists. "I think you're wrong about it. It's not a beast, Commander. It's alive. It understands." Joris struck him hard across the face. The sound echoed down the hall. "Enough! That creature is our curse. If you defy the council again, you'll die beside it." He gestured to the guards. "Lock him up." Eli struggled, shouting, "You're killing something that saved you." But they dragged him through the corridors and threw him into a small storage cell. The metal door slammed shut. Hours passed. The only sound was the hum of generators and the soft drip of water. Eli sat on the floor, head bleeding slightly, mind racing. He checked his pockets, but his recorder was gone. Joris must have taken it. All his proof, the voice, the words, gone. He hit the wall in frustration. No one's going to believe me now. Then faintly through the thick walls he heard it, a deep sound that vibrated through the floor. Ronar's voice. It wasn't a roar. It was a call, a low and powerful, shaking every bolt and pipe in the colony. The lights flickered. Dust fell from the ceiling. Sirens started to wail. Eli stood up. "No, please don't hurt them." But the alarms grew louder. The ground trembled. Screams echoed outside. The door burst open. A guard stumbled in, eyes wide. "The beast, it's out." Before he could finish, something massive moved in the hallway. The guard was thrown aside as the air shimmered blue. And then Ronar stepped through the smoke. Chains still hung from his arms, glowing red where they'd been torn apart. His body was covered in scorch marks, but his golden eyes burned bright. Eli froze, staring. You came here?" Ronar's voice rumbled like thunder. "You helped me." He reached toward the cell door. The metal hissed and melted under his touch, opening wide. Eli stepped out slowly. "They'll kill you for this." The creature looked at him, voice deep but calm. "They already tried." Shouts echoed down the corridor. Armed guards were running toward them. "Kill it! Shoot on sight!" Bolts of plasma cut through the air. Eli ducked as energy beams struck the walls. Ronar growled, standing between him and the fire. Blue light flashed across his body as the bolts hit, deflecting harmlessly. With one massive sweep of his arm, Ronar sent a wave of force down the hall. The guards were thrown aside like dust. Eli's ears rang. "You're controlling energy? Part of Storm," Ronar said. They forgot. Eli realized Ronar wasn't using magic or anger. He was using the storm's power itself. He grabbed his hand. "Come on, we have to get out." The creature's claw was huge but gentle. "You would still trust me?" Eli nodded without hesitation. "Always." They ran together through the burning corridors. The storm outside had returned, violent and alive. Lightning danced across the sky like veins of white fire. As they reached the outer gate, the ground split. Thunder crashed, throwing metal debris into the air. The colony loudspeakers came alive with Joras's furious voice. "The human and the beast have escaped. Shoot them both. Protect the council." Eli turned to Ronar. "We have to reach the high tower. The weather core's there, and maybe you can control it." Ronar's eyes glowed brighter. "I remember." They moved through the chaos, avoiding guards and falling metal. Every step felt like a race against death. The storm grew stronger as if the planet itself was waking from a long sleep. Finally, they reached the edge of the valley, the forest beyond the colony walls. The air smelled clean again, filled with the scent of rain and electricity. Eli stopped, catching his breath. We made it, but they'll keep hunting us. Ronar looked toward the distant towers glowing red in the lightning. Truth will wake them. Eli stared at the creature, realizing this wasn't just a rescue anymore. It was a fight for truth, for understanding, for peace, between fear and compassion. He took a deep breath and nodded. Then let's make them see who you really are.